Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Soulver Weekly Forecast. I'm your host, James,
I'm Alison Maiden.
And of course, I'm standing in for Courtney, if you hadn't noticed. And today, we're going to answer a few questions surrounding America's recent election. And people want to know, how will Australia respond to this? Are we going to follow suit with all the big changes coming? Are we going to uncover corruption in the Australian government? Because if you didn't notice, we're not doing too well here.
We're certainly not. Look, it's a really good question, and I think one that interestingly has come in from quite a few different sources. So it's not just been one question from one person. This has been on everyone's minds. Clearly, there's a lot going on since Trump came into office. He's changed so many things. There's so much happening in the ripple effect that's going through the world. When is it going to reach us way down here in Australia, and what's actually going to happen with that? And we have quite a few of our politicians that are really on opposite ends of the spectrum here. We are seeing people that are super right, super left, and then there's a few independents that are kind of midway. And I know that, I mean, if we follow politics, I do follow politics to a certain degree, but I do actually believe more in the people rather than the party. And I think the two-party preferred system that we've got here is inherently bad. I think we all need more choice, definitely, and I think that is something that has been brought to the forefront with Trump, including people from the Democrat Party, with Robert Kennedy, and also even outsiders like Elon Musk, bringing them in to do jobs that they are doing very well in cleaning up the corruption over there. So, we do need to open our minds and our eyes more to what's going on here and the truth of the matter, and the fact that I think we've been living in this kind of Matrix-style world for too long, where we just believe that politicians should be a certain way, and so therefore that's what they are. And indeed, under the surface, they're not like that at all. So let's have a look. Oh gosh, Four of Cups just jumped out then, James.
That's a sword.
That's a sword, sorry. Four of Swords. You can tell that I've had a busy day. Four of Swords, honestly, this is, yes, we do need absolutely to put it to rest. We need people in the seat that are fresh, new ideas, new concepts. Let's get rid of these old fuddy-duddy dinosaurs, right?
So stab them with four swords.
No, we don't recommend any stabbings.
Thank you, Spirit, for that message.
Yes, right. It just means that we need to move on from the corruption and indeed the old-fashioned ways of doing things. Let's move into a more modern and interesting way. Okay, this is interesting. So the bottom of the deck here, we have the King of Swords. Now, he would be someone who is definitely outspoken, well-read, well-established sort of gentleman in our Australian politics. And I do feel this man is younger. So we're not looking at the oldies that are in charge now. We are looking at someone who is more young and dynamic coming up through the ranks. And this person here, I think, could easily win votes. Now, what they are doing at this stage is that they're just beating out the old drum, two sides of the same coin, basically, the red or the blue, which side do you go for each time? They just get their turn and make a mess of it. So we do need a change here in this country. And I think that the question that was asked about, is the Trump going to make a difference here? Well, yes, Judgment Day is basically coming, which is meaning that people are going to start looking at things a lot differently.
Yeah.
And it needs to happen, guys.
I know I certainly have started looking at things differently, and being a young person, I couldn't care less about politics. But since everything that he kind of started coming out with, it's made me look at more like what's going on. And maybe it is just the maybe conspiracy mind, or maybe
it's only conspiracy if it's not true.
Yeah.
And I think that the point being that he and his team have uncovered so many truths now. The release of, documents that have been hidden for years, redacted, heavily redacted, all of those things are coming to the forefront, where it is showing that the massive corruption and misleading the people has been rife in America, but it's worldwide, guys. If we think it's only one country, that's a bit, I think, silly to think that way. I think we've got to understand that people in power, they can either use or abuse, and if they use the power for good, fantastic. If they start abusing the power, then it really does show in the fact that it's reflecting on how we live. The cost of living, not being able to house ourselves or our families, the Australian dream, as they used to put it, where everyone was able to buy a house, well, that's gone out the window quite a while ago. But what we are seeing is that there's people that are just moving, and they're moving in droves. If the country or the place doesn't suit them, they're just going to move. And so, you'll find a lot of movement going between states here. There's going to be a lot of people moving from places that they've been a really long time, and it's just that they are sick and tired of doing the same thing day in, day out. But James, that's the energy at the moment as well, because the earth is going through this action years, so we're going to feel like we need to take action, like we need to do something different. Yep. But we have to decide exactly what that is and what that means to us. Now, we've got 3 major arcana cards coming out here. So that's a really powerful thing. In a tarot reading, if you have more than 1 or 2 major arcana, it's like there's big change on the way. This is going to be based around the Empress, which is abundance. So everybody's going to be looking at the abundance thing. Now, Trump has just literally come into power. He is still trying to change the fortunes of the American people around by putting things into place which will give the money back to them. Obviously, they're already saving like literally billions of dollars in cutting some of the ridiculous costs that the government was going into with all their different departments that weren't necessary, etc.
Well, that's what Elon Musk was brought in for, wasn't it? In the
Doge.
The Doge.
Yeah.
And also him putting those things in place to charge like Canada and Mexicans.
Oh, the tariffs. Yeah.
Tariffs, that's what they're called.
So,
yeah.
See, he's really well educated in politics. But you know what? At the end of the day, Trump is a businessman. He does deals, and those deals will work better for America because that's what he's trying to do. He's going to get the best deal for his people. Mm. In Australia, we're still working under the old system of let's go backwards and forwards. Let's have another commission. Let's have another, panel of people deciding on what's this and what's that. And in the meantime, we're all sitting here starving and can't house ourselves. And, the prices of energy are going through the roof. And all of those things are where the Trump administration is really showing up the other governments in the world, and people are getting very disgruntled because of it. So the ripple effect is that. The ripple effect's going to be, if he can do it over there, why can't we do it here, right? And regardless of him as a person, and I just want to say, anyone that comes to me and says, why are you liking him? I like what he represents and I like what he's doing. And I'm not necessarily saying that he's the best person in the world. I mean, none of us are, The person without sin should throw the first stone, as was said. But what I am saying here is he is making an impact and he's doing what he said he was going to do. Tell me what politician in our society actually follows through with their promises. And this is why the whole system will be changed under him. James, that's the 4th major arcana card that's come out of this reading.
Holy moly.
So we are looking here at a very big change, huge change. Now, that is the card of commitment, right, and higher purpose. And so that's already in the past. The energy around all of this has got to be changed too. If you are in a seat of power, you will use it for the people, not to line your own pockets. That energy has started to kick in now. And so those people who are dishonest in government, they will be shown. They will be shown up, no matter what country you're in.
Hell yeah.
The UK is going through hell at the moment. There's
surprised.
Uprisings everywhere. People are standing up. They're saying no more. We've had enough of this. My prediction there is by the middle of the year, that government will be out and there'll be a new government in. So keep an eye on that. Yep.
All right, I've got to pin that.
Yep. I reckon
Nigel
will get in about June, July this year. All right. So we have 10 of Wands as our future card. Now, this is struggle and too many burdens, too many responsibilities. Now, the trouble with this card being where it is that these fall back not on the politicians, but on the people. So when we're looking at it from a perspective of if they're going to get their act together, And I just know, and I'm sorry to say this, you Australians that are watching, I feel like we're going to go round and around in a circle here for about 3 years before anything's actually physically changing in our environment. And I know, and that's the mass exodus that we're looking at. I think everyone's going to be moving.
Right.
But what we are seeing here is like more and more rebuffal, I suppose, because of that. So people are like, we don't want to put up with that anymore. You know, the price of petrol will go up and all of those really important things, food. And here is our home card being tears and sadness. So what it's saying is that we are not actually catching up just yet. It's going to take a while before those changes will happen here. And Australia is very laid back. Our country, you know, Australians have a notoriously great reputation overseas for being very laid back people. We tend to take everything in our stride. We just sort of like, you know, cruise along. Okay, don't worry about it. Have another beer. This is indicating that people need to get up and start doing something about it. We need our voice. We need to say no. And they're going to, the Seven of Swords, cut ties and move forward. So you know what? The government here needs to be very, very careful. And indeed, the new government coming in, which there will be an election this year and there will be a new government coming in, they also need to be very careful, because if they break their promises, they're not going to be trusted again.
So what you're saying is we all have to stand up and grab our swords.
Correct.
And poke the politicians.
Not literally, of course, metaphorically speaking. Yes, we need to make a noise. So the Ace of Pentacles being our last card down here, we can expect this to be a timing card in this instance. This will be, and of course, politics is always about the money, guys. It's always about the money. So it's coming back to Australia is going to be in trouble financially for another 12 months. This is going to reflect on the people in Australia, and it's also going to get them riled up for change. And I suppose in that instance, the USA has already been through that, right? So, but there will be a quite a dark horse here. There's this leader here. I don't know. I get him being, and I don't take any sides when it comes to this sort of stuff. So I suppose he's more like a JFK kind of guy, you know, John Kennedy, when he was in power in the US, everyone loved him. He was handsome, he was young, he was dynamic, he came in with a lot of ideas, and then he was assassinated by his driver. That video has just come out. So that conspiracy theory is now ended. So what we're talking about here, this guy, he's coming up in the same vein. He's going to be seen as a young, dynamic young man in Australia wanting to do the right thing by everyone. And I think that he's got a very good chance of turning things around. I'm not too sure whether it's a Liberal Party or a Labor Party, or it could be a whole new ball game. We could be looking at something completely different here. But he will be in the seat of power, and there's also going to be someone higher than him. I would not be surprised if Australia turns into some sort of republic at the end of the day. I think we're going to get rid of the old system. I don't think it's soon though. I think we've got another 3 years of this. I'm sorry to say, guys, hang on to your hats and start opening your mouths.
Right. So when you say another 3 years, could you feel into maybe, is that 3 years of the same cycles or 3 years of steady change? It
will be change. I'm not so sure about steady. I think that there will be, there has to be that point, you know, they go, right, well, we're going to vote in the next election, the opposition will get in. And it's been the same like this over and over again, you know, around in a big circle. Now, when they don't fulfill their promises and when they don't come forward and they always blame the guy that just left, okay? I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but it's been happening for like generations now. So when we are looking at the bigger picture, a change has to happen big time. We have to get rid of the old ways and bring in a new system. And that's going to take about 3 years, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, 3 years is not that far. Hang in there, everyone.
And you can speak up and you can make the change yourself. You just need to voice your opinions on how you think things should be. Let's bring down the taxes. Let's bring down the food taxes especially. And also let's get out of this cycle of mundane, same old idiots in power.
Yeah. I want my damn eggs, government. Stop holding them at ransom.
True.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Alison.
No worries.
As always, very insightful. And thank you, all of you, for tuning in. We hope that you enjoyed this episode. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and tune into the next one. We'll see you then.
Bye.